Matt Bernier, DRF's national handicapper Mike Watchmaker, the third and final for this Saturday's Weekend Warrior, Tampa Bay Downs. Race number 8, 3-year-olds going 7/8 of a mile on the main track, the $125,000 Pasco. You've got a field of 10 signed on, Mike, and you're going to go with the horse that I thought, for my money anyway, was one of the most visually impressive 2-year-olds, and then we didn't see him again. That was last year, the number 1, He Hate Me.
You're right. He Hate Me was very impressive, at least from a visual standpoint, winning the Tremont Stakes the day before the Belmont Stakes last year, and he hasn't been seen since. He came into the Tremont off a very popular win at Pimlico, where he got the money at 2 to 5. But he was very, very good in the Tremont. Now, I will say this: the rail was absolutely not the place to be at Belmont Park on the main track the day before the Belmont Stakes last year, and maybe even on Belmont Stakes Day, but certainly not the day before the Belmont. And He Hate Me was on the inside, but got off the inside midway on the far turn and got out into the better 40, whereas the horse that he reeled in and beat, Direct Dial, was on the inside most of the way. So that kind of visually enhanced He Hate Me's performance, but still, I thought it was a very solid effort on his part. Much better. Usually I take these early 2-year-olds with a healthy dose of skepticism because they're just precocious, they're just faster than everybody else, they're quicker to develop than everybody else, but generally they don't go much more than that. And they get quickly passed by their contemporaries who are continuously developing, improving, and they're just precocious. But he struck me as being a horse that was more than precocious. I mean, he struck me as being a horse that could have a very bright future. And he's backed by the Horatio de Pazban, who's very good off layoffs. He's coming into this off a layoff, but I think if he runs back to his Tremont, he wins this race, although he's got a horse to beat in World of Trouble.
World of Trouble, this horse, first time going out for Jason Service and Michael Dubb. You get Antonio Gallardo, ships across the state from Gulfstream Park. Really hasn't done anything wrong in either one of his 2 lifetime starts. Highest last out buyer with an 88. Overall, where do you envision him working out some sort of trip?
Well, you know, he's got early speed, and I think he'll be a forward factor from the outset. The big reason why I went against World of Trouble is I just have suspicions as to how strong that 88 buyer really is. If you go back and you look at DRF formula later and you check out the colt that beat him in his last start in the Florida Sire Affirm Stakes, Satouche, he came back and he won the finale of that series, and he won that race, but he did so with a buyer that was 11 points less than that 88 in which World of Trouble, in which he narrowly beat World of Trouble. So I'm a little bit suspect of that buyer, and if that's the case, it brings him back to the rest of this field, but he's still going to be bet heavily. Now, much to his favor is the fact that he's switching to Jason Service's board, and Jason Service's just, I mean, all the man knows how to do is win. He's particularly good in these situations with newcomers to his barn. He wins with 34% of them with a positive ROI. I mean, this horse is going to be tough to beat in this spot, but I think he's going to be overbet because of that field best 88 buyer last time out that I just don't trust.
What are your thoughts on a horse like the number 5, Driven by History? This is a horse that ran 7 times as a 2-year-old between the months of July and October. Haven't seen him since. He's one going 2 turns. He's one going 1. The big kind of elephant in the room is those were all over synthetic tracks. Is it more of a wait-and-see approach with a kind of horse like this?
Well, he's also first-time Lasix in this spot, too, which might help him. I mean, it depends on what his price is. I mean, if he's a very healthy price, then you really don't have to get hung up too much on the fact that he's an unknown on a dirt surface. You know, all his races, as you noted, Matt, have been on synthetic racetracks. So, but if he's bet in this race, then I wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole because he's a question mark. So it really depends on what kind of price he is. I mean, if you're looking elsewhere in this race, I think the horse to give a peek at is Awaken. I mean, Awaken, this is a 7-furlong race, and these kind of extended sprints, I think, are tailor-made, especially for 3-year-olds, are tailor-made for horses cutting back in distance. And Awaken comes into this off of two-turn races. One was a third in the sapling, the other was an Ohio-bred win at Belterra. I mean, not the greatest races, but still, he's going to have the foundation. He's going to be picking up a lot of pieces in the final furlong when some of these horses are going to be begging for oxygen. So, I think a horse like Awaken is the kind of horse that you might want to mess around with if he's a big enough price.
Race 8 at Tampa Bay Downs Saturday, the 7/8 of a mile, $125,000 Pasco for 3-year-olds on the main track. Mike's going to go to the inside, the number 1. He Hate Me, Horatio De Paz, Manny Franco has the mount. Mike, great stuff as always. Best of luck this weekend, and we'll talk again next week.
Thank you, Matt.